What's going on, guys? Bel Air here. Today we're going to watch a game from each of the playoff wins from our MVP Beastmode, who's going to start off early here in Game 3 against Space Station with a patented ceiling challenge, something that was nearly impossible for teams to manage over the entirety of this most recent London Major that we had. Where was it? It was in London. I'm glad that you asked. Beast Mode was incredible. He was awesome throughout. He was third in rating overall for this event, first in goals per game at 1.07. And not only was he scoring at an incredibly high clip, but he was also hyper efficient, finishing fourth with his shooting percentage of 36%, which is just incredible to lead an international event in goals while also being hyper efficient. Is not only a testament to Beast Mode and his skill, but also a ringing endorsement of his teammates who helped him along the way, and some incredible coaching by Sathu. I feel like Daniel deserves a lot of credit. His defense over the course of this event was top-notch. Him and Beast Mode have obviously been to a grand finals previously. They've made every grand finals over the course of this season, hitting all 8. All 6 online, and of course both grand finals from the London and Copenhagen majors. And Atomic is the savvy veteran who helped them win this as well. But like we said, this video is about Beast Mode, so flowers to teammates aside, in playoffs, Beast Mode's efficiency did not stop, shooting an incredible 30% there when the games mattered most. And the stats are a little funky because he's passed up in some categories by his opposition here in Spacestation Gaming. The benefit they had is only having to play 5 games, so their stats are a little bit bloated when you compare them to Beast Mode, who went all the way to the grand finals and, of course, winning this event. But in this series in particular, we're watching Game 3 here, and I chose this because they split the first 2. So G2 hop out, win Game 1, Space Station answer, they shut out G2, and now we got to see who the big boys are going to be. I feel like something that we talk about often in NBA fandom is, do you have one of, quote, the guys? Because typically history tells us that you need one of the top players in order to contend deep into playoffs. It's very rare that you get a team like the Detroit Pistons of old, the Bad Boys, where Isaiah was incredible, but he wasn't one of the top, 3 or 4 players in the league, and that's rare. Typically, you need a Luka Doncic or a pairing of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown-esque players in order to contend, and this G2 team has all 3 led by their talisman here in Beast Mode. And here's going to be the first goal, a 0 boost, able to beat all 3. Let's watch this back one more time, as poor miss by LJ there is going to set this up. Chicago doesn't know that he's empty and is just going to dunk right underneath. Hoxer goes to try and cover the middle backboard there and is just unable to reach across. Could have been defended better by Chicago, but that's one of the things about this G2 team, is they're so deadly that you have to trust every angle and every shot. So ones like that can just sneak by you from time to time. In this series, Beast Mode led the way with 7 goals. Not only that, 3 assists as well. So he was part of the scoring effort on 10 of the 12 goals. And there is just another pretty one here. Let's look at this one more time, as Daniel going to get the flip reset over Chicago. LJ's got to do something with it, the smoke screen, and just LJ cannot recover over to that one there, as that's 2 that Beast Mode is going to put on Chicago's head over the course of this game. And G2 is starting to pull away here in a critical split game. Great bump there off the powerful musty flick from LJ, who hit a couple of those in Swiss. I can't remember who it was, and you might have already seen the highlight or watched the game, but he hit this musty shot, LJ that is, I think it was like top right corner, where he gets a full kind of doomsy spin into the musty. It was really, really nice, as we're going to get a third one in there from G2 as the goals start to pour in this 1-1 game. Now, the only goal that Beastmode did not score in this series was Game 2. I think SSG beat him 2-0, and some good attempts, but they were unable to get any of those attempts over the finish line. Outside of that, Beastmode scored in every game this series, including a hat trick in the closeout Game 5. And it was something that Beastmode said he didn't know before the series, but after this game, the series rather, they're actually 7-0 on the season against the Spacestation Gaming squad. And it started off pretty dominant, quite a few 1-3s, 3-0s. And SSG actually played the last two before this one really tight. They both went 7, and here it seemed like, they were going to be able to keep this one close as well, having a great Swiss stage, but no. Beastmode shut that down early and often alongside his teammates, and he was very dominant over the course of this game and otherwise, as we see the 2-1-2 on 4 shots for Beastmode to lead the way in this Game 3. Overall, in this game, you can see they really dominated Space Station 12-3 on shots, dominated the boost game as well. So this was a commanding victory here by the eventual champions and MVP. But let's go ahead and hop over to their semifinal series, and we'll continue to see how Beastmode was able to put his name all over this championship run. Game 2 against Furia. This is the semifinal. Furia, of course, just came off of a pretty thorough stomping of Team Vitality. I talked about this in my last video or 2 videos ago, I can't recall, but afterwards we learned that Radosin was apparently pretty sick, according to Fairy Peak, so that changes my perspective on their performance a little bit, but seemingly Furia spent a lot of their emotional tank to overcome that Vitality team. That was the 4th time they've played them this season, and they seemed a little bit spent against this G2 roster. Or maybe G2 were just really feeling it. Of course, they end up winning this whole shebang, but this series was a little more lopsided than I think some people, myself included, would have considered. It seemed like a big thing in this game we're watching here. While the series, by the way, Daniel was really the star, I felt like. In this one, we see Beastmode really try and pick up the physicality. He's going to have 13 demos in this series. That's going to lead the entire pack. Furia only had 18 altogether, so only 5 off for Beastmode to beat them overall there, as he's going to try and get up here and maybe just get a deflection, be a little bit of a distraction for Jerfino on the goal line. Beastmode was the most forward for about 40% of this series, which is something that we've seen them do kind of break out in the past. I remember as he's going to try and avoid a bump here as Lost just sits underneath of him. But we've seen that in the past, and it doesn't always work, where they try and make Beastmode like a hyper physical kind of upfield player, as just poor defense here from Furia in transition. Atomic is going to lob one up, is going to get it right over Jerfino, who can't float high enough, and Lost just kind of gets stuck on his own sidewall there in front of the goal, as that's going to open up the scoring here. But Beastmode, super forward, super physical. I think what they were trying to go for is just choke out Furia, not let them set up, not let them get the looks that they want, kind of force them into situations that don't allow them to utilize their mechanics fully. As we see, Daniel's going to lose one here, but easily cleared out by Beastmode, who was very fast over the course of this series. The only player who was quicker than him, I'll let you guess. That's right, it was Yan. Yan was the fastest player in the series, used the most boost, collected the most boost. That's kind of what they're going for with this semi-heliocentric offense that Furia lets on, and Beastmode is just going to poke that one forward out of danger. Low boost, we saw him be impactful over the course of this event with little to no boost. We, of course, saw the Chicago beat that he had in that game that we watched previously, and a little bit of defending there, going to get the bump forward. So Beastmode is not afraid of staying in a play on 0, as he's going to pop this one to the ceiling and try and create something there for his teammate we talked previously. Oh my goodness. Just trying to make comms difficult for Furia here. Buy a little time, beat one, beat a second. When we made a video before the major about G2, something that we were really impressed by was G2's kind of structure of their offense, where they really like to send one, see if that one player can beat one or two players by themselves, and then they have a second who is semi-close to try and finish the play, with a third who stays back to make sure they're not beat in transition. And we saw that structure right there where, look, you have Beastmode is going to leave that ball. Daniel's up trying to make a play on it. Atomic is right there. And then Beastmode is closing as third for the cleanup. Maybe not the best example in the world, but that structure is something that we saw throughout. G2, by the way, when we were talking about them dominating the boost game as just a tough one, as Yan is somehow going to read that. They're stealing about 14 big boosts per game in this series, G2 that is. And that's just deadly for Furia, who need a lot of boost, especially for Lost and Yan to be popping. They really like the solo play mechs, try and get up, get in your face, make something happen. And that boost also fuels their physicality, where they try and get up, demo. That's something that they used greatly against Vitality, where they're trying to use that speed and momentum, as Beastmode's going to backpass here, to their advantage. And look at how calm this is in defense. Beastmode with the risky backpass in a critical game, and then just going to take the ball calmly over his own goal line. Not afraid in this at all. And that's something that Beastmode talked about after winning the whole thing when he was on stage with Leaf. He said he was surprisingly not really too nervous in this event, and oh my goodness. Daniel, choice 50 on loss, gonna pop this one, and the Beastmode, who's already up, is gonna put it away as G2 put the dagger into the heart of Furia here, who it's tough to come down when you're 0-2 against anybody, but it's nearly impossible against this G2 roster, who can hurt you so many ways. And Furia put up a valiant effort, but that's kind of all she wrote here in this series. And in the third one, we've talked a lot of stats and kind of storylines and what we saw. We're about to get into our grand finals here against Falcons, and we're going to try and lock in on the gameplay and see what Beastmode is doing. But over the course of these first two, we've seen him be up, be physical, really dominant against these two opponents who they've seen a lot of. They saw a lot of Spacestation Gaming 7 times so far this season. They saw a ton of Furia when they played in North America last season as well, of course. So Beastmode, 1 goal, 1 save, 3 shots to lead G2 in this game 2 over Furia. So let's go ahead and hop over to Team Falcons and see how they're able to put this one away. Game 5 here against Team Falcons. G2 lead them 3-1. They say the toughest game to win is the closeout, and G2 are going to put that to the test here, as we have seen them really get their revenge against the Falcons, who absolutely crushed them in Swiss. It was not a very close 3-0, and coming into this, that kind of shone through in what everybody was anticipating. The entire desk, including chat, took Team Falcons. The only one who didn't was T-Bates, which really surprised me. I didn't know T-Bates was a G2 fan. I don't know if any of you guys knew that, but T-Bates, never wrong, I suppose, only in the situations where he gets it right. All jokes aside, big fan of T-Bates, and his boys here in G2 were able to take it away as we see Beastmode. Oh, oh my gosh, that power slide. Easy control, gonna take this one, just gonna cut it up. Sends Rawas flying, is able to get back on his feet quickly and take both of those big boosts away from Team Falcons, who really needed them over the course of this series. Beastmode is feeling it. We saw a ton of nerves out of the Falcons. That's something that was talked about by G2 and the squad after the event, and what a goal line save there by Daniel on a couple close ones from Team Falcons. But partially that experience, partially being here before, Just a mixture of those things and the just quality level that G2 were putting out were ultimately what were able to put them over the Falcons. As Beast Mode playing upfield again with zero boost, we've seen him not be afraid to make big plays when out of boost throughout these playoffs that we've been watching. And Beast Mode said after they won on stage with Leaf that he was not afraid. He thought he might be nervous, but he was not going to rip Rawas off of that play. And Falcons just going way too slow, and G2 were too quick. 2-0 in this potential closeout game here. Just an incredible performance by Beast Mode overall. It deserves to be said that Falcons looked incredible throughout. Even going back to that Swiss game where they were able to get a huge win over G2, they will certainly be back and in form for the World Championship. A benefit that they have that the rest of the world does not is they're going to have a Saudi E-League major in early, July, and then the major happens in September. So a big LAN warm-up for Falcons, who are going to come back and look to plot their revenge, as Beast Mode is going to steal another 100 pad and is all up in TRK's grill here. TRK, who, by the way, was incredible over the course of not only this series, but the event overall. And it really seemed like the Twins' lack of experience was something that bit them over the course of this series. But we're at the halfway mark, so let's lock in and see what Beast Mode is able to do here. Zero boost, going to go upfield, take 100, try and cycle back in, trust his teammates to get there to that one. Wow, that was a very comfortable way to pop back to back wall defense. Smoothly takes this one out. Checks the field, beats one, is going to try and fake just to push Clears off of it, steal the boost upfield, and then rush back here. And it all just looks easy for G2 so far. The defense looks easy. The beats in transition look easy. Even that 50, which was huge from Beast Mode, they clearly just have it rolling here, and the Falcons are trying whatever they can to stay in this. As Beast Mode, the deft little touch, going to keep this one for himself, play up in front of this ball, and just try and buy time. So dangerous from Falcons, who just let that one kind of float close to their goal line, but are going to be able to pull that one out. Slowing it down a little bit, thank goodness, because I'm running out of breath and I don't have any water, and Beast Mode's going to put one away. Let's look at that one more time. Rawas tries to pop one over. Daniel big beat. Rawas can't get anything else on it after that, and just a crispy double touch. Bottom right corner from Beast Mode. They are going for the jugular here, and Falcons do not have a response. Look at that. Daniel, another huge beat. That's typically where we see Beast Mode showing his prowess off those ceiling challenges, shutting them down. And look how high they're keeping their line here. They're just trying to run the clock and not let Falcons have anything. And so far it is working as Beast Mode. I would assume, yeah, look, G2 are really great on the defensive end about using that front man to try and force or even get a beat. They won't wait and let the goal line defender try and get something, and how on earth does that not go in for Falcons? But they like to use that first man on defense to try and force something, and they usually at least get a touch, which a lot of teams struggle to do. Beast Mode going to try and drop one down here. Great idea, but they can't put away what would have been the highlight, if not already dagger goal. 10 seconds left. This one's all but done. G2 can feel it. Well-deserved by them. Again, all 8 grand finals so far this season, and they finally were able to see Beast Mode and Daniel lift their first trophy. Long awaited. Both of them have been fixtures in the top of North America for quite some time, and they finally join Atomic and Sathu as winners of a major, and maybe that's not it. Maybe this is the momentum boost that they need to do what Vitality did last season, really show up late into the season and then carry that into the World Championship. They look dominant. They're certainly the #1 team heading into that World Championship. Just off the top of my head, I think I'm going to go G2 number 1. I think I'm going to go Vitality second, big believer. Probably Falcons third. And then somewhere in there is probably Gentlemates. And then Carmine Core would probably be my top 5. So guys, thank you so much for checking out today's content. As we saw recapped what Beastmode was able to do to earn himself MVP honors, and rightfully so. Guys, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to check out the content, and until next time, take it easy.